guys, it's Dwight. Welcome back to my studio. I hope you're having a great day. So today we're going to work on a 24 by 36 canvas, and we're going to do a colander pour with colors of some gold, some copper, some purple, different shades of purple. We're going to see what we can create with that. I just wanted to remind you guys that when you're doing paintings and you want to sell your paintings, think about a couple of things. Think about making sure that your painting is finished. So making sure that it's clean and it's crisp. If you watch my videos, you see that I go in at the very end once it's dry and I touch up the cells or the pearls around the negative space. And sometimes I clean up the negative space if it looks like there are too many like broken cells or what I've called ghost cells. That way it makes it clean and it makes it sharp. The other thing to think about too is if you are talking to a gallery or even for Arts and Crafts Festival, have a picture of your painting in a vignette. That way people can actually picture your picture, maybe in their own home or in their office, something like that. That goes a long way. And I've learned that from a few gallery owners over the past couple of years, that just kind of helps sort of promote your painting as opposed to just a plain picture of your painting. The other thing to think about too is if you really do want to get into selling your paintings, check your local area. You can go online, Google, call for artists in your area. Some communities only support those artists who are local. The gallery that I work at and volunteer at and also show at supports Maryland artists, so it's all over the state. And the other thing to think about too are co-ops. Co-ops are a great opportunity to be in a community of other artists. You can show your work, you can sell your work. I think the only glitch with that is that you have to be prepared to give yourself some, give some hours to help out at the co-op, which I think is fun, you know, volunteering some time. So just a few things to think about and just keep practicing and keep working at it. Now, if you haven't subscribed, please feel free to subscribe. Feel free to share, feel free to like. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the notes below, or you can email me at dwightpours@yahoo.com. Okay, that's enough talking. I'm gonna get ready and I'm gonna get my paints out, get ready to mix them all up. I will show you the paints once they're all mixed before we get started. Hey friends, I just wanted to pop in really quickly before we get started to mention a couple things. First of all, the painting you're about to see, I did late at night, so the lighting isn't that great, especially with the walkthrough. The second thing I want to mention is that in the notes below are some links to some of the shows that I've been in over the past few years in New York City, as well as here in Baltimore. So I'm hoping that you enjoy that and maybe find it inspirational for your art and moving forward. Okay, friends, hold on, let's get started. Okay guys, here we are. These are my paints, they're all ready to go. There's my 24 by 36 canvas, and this is my dump paint, which is typically Artist Loft Soft Body Black. And my white paint is also Artist Loft brand. Then I have this rich copper with a little bit of gold in it. And this is purple, as you can tell, a little bit of white in there. And then I use ice blue with a little bit of white in there as well. And then this beautiful, rich purple. So there's my colander, and we're gonna get started here in just a moment. And yeah, we'll see you in a second. Okay, friends, here we are. Canvas is ready to go. So what I'm gonna be doing here is I always paint the corners and edges. I see that people are doing that more and more now, which is great, because if you're using thinned paint, you don't want the canvas, the white canvas, to show up on the edges. So I just use black. You can probably use any color or any color that is in your paint choices for the actual painting that you're going to be doing. So I use a little bit too much paint, so I'm just kind of smearing it on the canvas there. So as I was looking at the canvas, I noticed that there was some puckering on the corners. I don't know if you can really tell, but I'm using my torch there to sort of, stretch and dry and stretch those areas. Because it's really important that you don't have any deformities in the canvas. You want it as flat as possible. So I'm just going back and double checking and making sure that I spread thin that black paint as much as possible. Now, what I was doing there, I noticed some puckering right in the middle. So I sprayed some water. I'm just moving it around a little bit. And once again, I'm going to either use my heat gun or my torch here. Now, this is something really important. It's been a while since I've had a canvas with this issue. And sometimes it takes me a while to actually work all of that out. Now, I've already sprayed the back and tightened the canvas. So what I'm doing is just putting a lot of heat right there in the middle to make sure that those little puckers flatten out, because I don't want any raised areas of my canvas, because it's going to make my cells and my other paint look kind of funny. So I tilted it back up again because I wanted to make sure there was no other puckering in the other part of the canvas. So once again, I'm doing this a little bit more. It's a lot of heat on there, as you can see. Just kind of spreading out that water. So using my heat gun one more time. And I think we are ready to go. Yes. Okay, let's start. So I put a little bit of white on the bottom and then the purple. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to pour all the cups out at once. I'm going to put each color a little bit at a time with some white in between. It just helps to brighten up the whole canvas. So I poured that copper strategically because I want to create a highlight with the copper. So as you can see, the blues and the purple are going to start pushing the copper out of the holes. Then I add the rest of the copper, a little bit more of that blue, and whatever's left of that purple. Now, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't really sure when I was looking at this because I started to think that the white was going to mix with the purple and make it all sort of like a light purple. But let's see what happens. So when I move the colander around, I want as much of the paint out of the colander, obviously, as possible. So doing a colander pour, it doesn't matter how it looks in the middle because those are all going to come up as cells or pearls. So I'm pouring the black paint nice and slow. Now in this video, it's sped up 2 times. And I slowly moved it over the edge. Again, this is sped up 2 times, so you can see I'm moving it really slow. The thing that helps make the pearls pop through is really stretching your paints. So I'm getting as much off as I can without overstretching, and you can see I had a lot of color come through. So I'm just checking things over, drying my hands. And I'm going to be getting up here in a moment to put it on time lapse. And watch the color come through, especially the copper. Again, popping any extra bubbles. And here we go. And that copper just slowly starts to emerge, which I think is really cool. Okay, let's do the wet walkthrough. Hey guys, this is Dwight. I'm back here after it's been sitting about an hour, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. Now, I did this as a late night pour, so the lighting isn't that great. So I have the overhead light on so you can see some of the glare right there. But I just wanted to show you, if I can, the details and the texture of all of this. I'm so glad I used the copper, and it mixed really nicely with the purple and then the blue. So I am going to go in and fix the negative space. You know, it seems to be something I do quite frequently. Let me just walk over here. You know, let me focus that a little bit. I'm going to take out part of this edge, and I'm probably going to take some of this out here. You know, I'm not really sure yet, so I'm not going to commit at the moment, but I'm going to let it dry and we'll see how it does. So let me just show you the details. It's quite dramatic. I'm quite happy with it. So again, the lighting is poor because it's late at night. So what I'll do is I will show you first thing in the morning. Most of it should be dry by then, and I think the color will look more vibrant. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with this one, and I'll show you, I'll show you in the morning. Okay guys, here we are back the next morning. It pretty much held its own. I'm really happy with the composition. I just want to say a little bit about the pours that I do real quickly. Now, I'm not necessarily going for such distinct, perfect pearls or cells. I'm going more for the overall composition and how the color works together and how it creates a beautiful painting and a nice story. So I will show you up close some of the pearls and how it's drying, and then I'll talk a little bit about the negative space. As you can see, we've got some nice lacing in here. Beautiful copper. And the copper is also dispersed throughout the purple. Now this end is a little bit wet. You can see the reflection. And there's my negative space. So I mentioned earlier, I believe, around creating a painting that you want to show or you want to sell is making sure that it's complete, it's crisp, and it's sharp. So with that being said, I will be going in here and I'm going to create more space. I'm going to take out some of this in here, round these sort of copper and some of these purple pearls. I probably won't add any dots to them because there's so much going on here that I think the composition is beautiful enough, and I think it'll draw your eye here. Again, taking out the edge, sort of rounding through here. So there's going to be some quote unquote reconstruction of this pour, and I think you'll like it in the end. So here's some of the pearls at this end. Sorry again for the reflection. It's still wet, as you can tell. I did it late in the evening. Yeah, so we'll come back maybe in a day. I will show you the dried results, and we'll do some handiwork here. Then we're all done. Okay, here we are, guys. We're going to start doing the touch-ups here. So I'm just sort of taking out some of that edge there and a few pearls just because I want to see sort of where I want to go from there. Now the space was really small, as you can tell. It almost filled in completely. So I just want to remind you, it's okay to sort of come in after the painting is complete and add a few touches to clean it up and to make it seem more crisp. So you see there in that corner, I am just sort of outlining some of those pearls, and I'm just going to then, paint around them so that you can see how round they are up against the black. I've got several brushes that I'm using at different sizes of their tips. One is almost like a needle thin. That's what I'm using to sort of draw my lines around these pearls. And as you can see, some of them I'm just rounding. I think it's important that up against your negative space, like I've mentioned numerous times, that since that's going to be part of your focal point, you want all of your pearls and your cells to also be sharp and crisp. It just sort of completes the picture. Now, in this painting, my pearls or my cells were a little bit different shaped. They're a little bit bigger and sort of multicolored. And so they look really great from a distance, but up close, they're multidimensional, and you can really see sort of the richness and the depth of some of them. So I wanted to make sure that they're also just as crisp up against the negative space. So there I am taking that little brush, and I'm just going in and trimming back a lot of that ickiness, so to speak, and pulling it way back to where that purple and sort of that coppery bronze is. So everything to the left of that black line, I'm going to black out with the paint. Now the paint I'm using is right out of the bottle, and it's the same paint that I use as my dump paint, Artist Loft Soft Body Black. So I'm just going in again, and I'm just covering everything with black, and then I'll go in just a moment with my smaller brush to do some of the detail work. And so already it's looking crisper and cleaner, and I'm really enjoying the way this is looking at the moment. Again, I'm just sort of smudging a little bit of black paint on the edge there. Now I'm using my heat gun every once in a while because I want the paint to dry, because I'm left-handed and I didn't do this very methodically today, so I was all over the place and didn't want to smear any of the black paint onto my hand then onto the other part of the canvas. I don't know if you noticed there, I dropped my paintbrush. So like I said, I'm going in doing some of the detailed work. Which again is important. I know some people have commented before that they're afraid to go in and don't trust themselves with sort of touching up. You know, it was practice for me and it took some time. I'm not saying that I'm perfect at it, but I'm more comfortable and I have more of a vision. And so, you know, I just take my time, I use my brush, and I just go one step at a time, and sometimes I take a step back and take a look to see how that looks, hoping that it's pleasing to the eye. So again, here I am just finishing up this little edge. And we're about ready to show you the dried results in just a moment. So yeah, hold on. Okay, friends, here we are. We're completely done. I cleaned up my negative space, made it nice and crisp in that area there. And I just want to let you know, I'm really happy with this painting. I wasn't really sure at first, but I think it turned out great. And I named this painting Amethyst because of the way these pearls and cells look. It reminds me of an amethyst stone I have here in my house. And at the very end of this video, I will put a picture of it so you can sort of compare to see what I'm talking about. So I'll just move in again to show you some of the details. It's all dry. And these pearls are sort of really multicolored. Very fascinating. Sort of that coppery gold. There's more up there. And so here's the negative space. I just trimmed things up, trimmed them back, and cleaned it up. I hope that looks good to you. I just think it really sharpens up this picture a lot. And yeah. So guys, listen, the holidays are coming up. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get any more paintings out. I have a big show to get ready for in January. I'm going to be at a gallery and I'm going to have a whole wall to myself, and I've got all these paintings here. I'm trying to figure out which ones are going to go. Oy, so it's stressing me out, but I'll figure it out and I'm sure it will be great. So thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. I love all you guys. And if you like this video, please let me know. If you haven't subscribed, please do share with a friend, and yeah, we'll see you maybe before the new year. If not, we'll start the new year with a bang.